Hello art friends, I'm Nicole and you can find me at NicoleWarrington.com or on Instagram at CoastalNicole. Today I want to share with you my sketchbook art journal and a few pages that I've been doing recently and how I use this book in different ways. So when I'm working in my sketchbook here, you can see it's a hardbound book. It's just a cheapy one that I bought from Opus Art Supplies, and I like it because I don't feel intimidated by an expensive book. Sometimes I'm using pages like a sketchbook page here just to keep little notes to myself. This is some repeated imagery that's showing up in my paintings and drawings. So I have a little ladder here and a symbol of the tree, a rowboat, a dock, an idea of a swing and river. So I keep little notes about what I'm exploring. This is a sort of meditative piece that I did in watercolor and pencil, featuring some of those things like a tree here, a little moon, and a ladder. And then it's more of an art journal page because I was doing some writing, a journal entry about some feelings of frustration around motherhood. And it's interesting because sometimes I get really frustrated, but when I come and sit to do artwork, it can have a really calm piece of work come out of that frustration. Here's a really simple page where I found a quote that I really loved, and I just made a simple watercolor background for it and then wrote on top with a marker. And I'll just read it to you quickly because it's quite beautiful. It's by L.R. Nost, and she's a parenting expert that I've been reading lately. It says, "Life is amazing and then it's awful, and then it's amazing again. And in between the amazing and the awful, it's ordinary and mundane and routine. Breathe in the amazing, hold on through the awful, and relax and exhale during the ordinary. That's just living, heartbreaking, soul-healing, amazing, awful, ordinary life, and it's breathtakingly beautiful." So that's L.R. Nost, and I really liked that quote, so I kept it here in my journal. This is a page I was working on with my daughter, and we did watercolor first, and she did these kind of fun faces and this little figure here, and I've been working over top of it with gesso, and then the watercolor bleeds up and through the gesso, creating these really beautiful translucent colors. I haven't quite finished it yet. I'll probably do some writing on top of it. Sometimes I just work in stages in the book and come back to the page another day. I've been doing lots of line drawings recently, working on self-portraits in a course I'm taking with Erin Faith Allen. She's an American artist, and this is one of the drawings that I quite liked. A really quick, simple self-portrait from a photo, and so I wanted to adhere it into the sketchbook and create a page around it. And this is just done really intuitively with colors that I was enjoying and ink splatters. I think I used a jelly plate press to create some of the texture in the background and little line drawing on top. And this one's called Finding Home Within. Did that one in March. This is a more built-up sketchbook page. There's a picture of me in here, although I don't have a face in this one. And I have this little three-dimensional part, a little tag on it. And you can see a little heart here, and this tag says, "Of this earth." And I was writing a bit about a park play date that I did with my daughter recently down at Philburg Park. And we collected this piece of bark, and this is some imagery from photos I took at the park. And I was just layering up these ideas of being a part of this earth and getting out of our heads and experiencing nature more. And so I have things about touch and sitting quietly and experiencing nature. This page you can see is quite different in colors from my other work, but it was what I was feeling that day, and I was working with some really dark charcoal and graphite sticks, and these figures started to emerge. And I had this piece of scrap paper. I'm building up little scraps to keep to work on, just to grab as collage ephemera. And I like to use something I've made, not bought from the store. So this has some little notes to myself. It's almost like when I work in my art journal page that I'm writing a note to myself so I remember it for the future. So this one has lots of writing underneath and then gesso on top, ink splattered on top, lots of layers to it. Makes the pages quite thick after a while. This is another thick gessoed page, and I'm using drawings that my daughter did. So she did this little figure, and I added some parts to it. And I was again thinking about playing, and it says hide and seek here. And she'd drawn this figure too, so I glued it on and kind of made it the mother-daughter figure, thinking about playing hide and seek in the yard, and a little trail here. And there's lots of little textures. This is some actually some white bandage tape that takes paint quite nicely. This is some watercolor crayon, some little marks etched into the thick gesso using a pencil like this, etching them in, and some splatter paint and graphite here. And then these are some pages I did recently while I was traveling. I couldn't take all of my paints with me, but I prepped the pages with white gesso and just used watercolor. So I worked from a photograph that I found at my parents' house. This is me when I was maybe 1 or 2 years old. Really quick line drawing. Watercolor looks really beautiful on top of gesso. And then I have some pencil writing in here. Again, this one's a gessoed page with watercolor and just some intuitive writing and drawing. Again, a figure kind of came out in this drawing, but it wasn't something that I planned. I don't really feel like this page is complete because when I was traveling, I didn't have the thicker paints and I felt like I would like to block out some areas to make it a little less busy. But anyways, that's what I wanted to share today, just what it looks like inside my sketchbook and how I use it. Sometimes it's notes, sometimes it's writing, sometimes it's little bits of color or collaged items. But if you enjoy journaling, I encourage you to get out your journal today and do some playing, do some work, do some writing. Okay, that's it for now. See you next time.